Holy crap, you guys, what's going on? It's your buddy Adam Neff here, and it's that time again. Time to go over another one of those video games we all love. Now, the game I've chosen to go over today is none other than Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Alright guys, this one was a bit harder for me to do this time because, well, let's be honest. I have a deep-seated love for Star Wars. Have ever since I was a kid. I think most of us have. So, when I first heard about this game, I was completely pumped about finally getting a new Star Wars game, supposedly free of microtransactions, to run around in and use force powers and a lightsaber. I mean, really, who doesn't want to do that? However, the one problem that was plaguing me with this game can be summarized with just one word. Dark Souls. Okay, that was 2 words, but the effect is the same. Now, for anyone out there who's ever played a Dark Souls game, any Dark Souls game, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about here. Dark Souls, in a word, is a game of what I would call just straight punishment. Hold on, don't get me wrong here. I'm not trying to say that Dark Souls is in any way a bad game. In fact, Dark Souls is actually a highly successful and very popular game franchise. The problem I have is that for me, difficulty doesn't necessarily equal fun. I personally just tend to get upset and end up breaking a controller or something. So when I first heard the association of Fallen Order and Dark Souls, I was actually pretty hesitant about getting into it. But now that I've played it, I can confirm that yes, unfortunately it does actually kind of play somewhat like Dark Souls. However, it's not quite as hard as what you get in a Dark Souls game, but it can still be pretty challenging, so be prepared for that. Anyway, that being said, let's take a look at Fallen Order and my experience while playing it, and whether or not I personally recommend it as a game worth picking up. So let's just jump right on in. Now, I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler-free as I can, guys, but just know that if I do let something slip, it's completely on accident, and I truly am sorry. Now, the game starts out with the main protagonist, Cal Kestis, who's hiding out on some backwater planet, cutting apart old destroyed rebel warships for the Empire. Cal and one of his friends are sent to free up some piece of the warship they're cutting apart so the scrappers can take it away, when suddenly something breaks, which causes Cal to use his force powers to save his friend from falling to his death. This leads to Cal being discovered by the Empire as being a Jedi in hiding. Following this event, what's called an Inquisitor shows up, which is basically just a Sith, to hunt down and kill Cal. Now, the game takes place after Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, where Order 66 was put into action, which was to eradicate all the Jedi, which is why Cal is hiding in the first place. Running from this Inquisitor, Cal is forced to embark on a journey across the galaxy to track down a list of Force-sensitive children left to him by an old, long-past Jedi, with the idea for Cal to recreate the Jedi Order. Now, again, I don't want to talk about the story too much here because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but I can say that even though I feel like this story's kind of been told already, it was still engaging and fun enough to keep me interested, so good on them. So, the game plays pretty similar to a lot of other third-person games out right now, which is actually a pretty good thing. I feel like the whole third-person genre in general has evolved into one of the strongest game types that we have available to us at this time. Running around in this game can sometimes feel a bit cumbersome and clunky, and sometimes it feels like Cal just kind of floats over the ground, but overall the game is pretty solid and dialed in. However, jumping from platform to platform and swinging from vines or ropes can be pretty problematic to say the least. Also, the camera can be somewhat glitchy, especially in tight spaces. This messed me up on quite a few occasions, especially during a fight, but you learn to kind of just work around it. Another thing that can be really frustrating here, guys, are the load times. Now, this in itself wouldn't be that big of an issue, but in a game where a lot of the encounters are fairly tough and are probably going to end up with you dying a fair amount. Having to wait through long load times can get kind of frustrating. Since the game returns you to the last meditation point, which is the only way you can save your progress in this game, when you die, you can lose a fair amount of progress, which can be aggravating as hell. But it is what it is. You just have to remember to meditate anytime you get a chance. Now, the way the game handles the progression of your character skills and abilities is pretty basic. In the past, I've somewhat praised games for kind of keeping this part of the process simple. But with this game, I feel like this could have been done a little better and gone a bit more in depth. I just feel like this was kind of a missed opportunity. Being able to level up different abilities would have been awesome, but instead they opted to go for just basically collecting abilities as you move through the game. This makes things actually really basic, but ultimately, I guess having the ability is really all that matters, so, whatever. Fortunately, leveling your character's abilities isn't the only customization opportunities that you get. The game also lets you pick up different objects and materials that can be used to upgrade your lightsaber, giving you a whole array of different colors and handle customizations. On top of that, you also get the opportunity to upgrade your buddy, BD1, who I think is probably the best character in the game. Upgrading BD1 will allow you to get into places you normally wouldn't be able to get into. Plus, you'll need to do this just to get through some of the puzzles you face throughout the game anyway. So there are a decent amount of upgrade options in the game other than just your abilities. Now, as far as the visuals go, the game itself looks actually really good. The graphics are really well fleshed out, and they did a really good job of capturing the overall ambiance of what makes Star Wars, which, believe it or not, can be pretty easily messed up. The deeper I got into this game and the more I leveled up my character, the more I felt like I was truly in the Star Wars universe, which is freaking awesome. I think they did a really good job with this one. Getting that right is kind of a make or break for any Star Wars game, so I gotta hand it to them on that. But anyway, guys, in wrapping up this review, I just wanted to say that it may have kind of felt like I was being a little bit harsher on this game than on some of the other games I've reviewed in the past. But I can honestly say that I really did enjoy this game. I thought it was a great addition to the whole Star Wars universe. This game is one of those games that once you start playing it, it sort of just sucks you in and makes you want to keep playing it. So I can totally and wholeheartedly recommend this game for anyone out there who's a true Star Wars fan. Or for any of you out there who actually kind of like Dark Souls too. As for the story, I personally would have kind of liked to see something a little more original, but I thought it was one that was pretty good and compelling enough to want to know how it turned out, and I think you guys will too. Anyway, I truly hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'm having a blast making them for you, and I'd like to keep making them. So please consider subscribing and maybe leaving a thumbs up if you liked it, or even a thumbs down if you didn't. It really will help me to continue making these, and I promise I will get better and faster. But for now, if you guys have any specific games you want to see me review, please let me know in the comments below. There are so many freaking games out right now that it's kind of hard to decide which ones to review. So recommendations might help to focus my efforts so that I can bring you guys the content you want to see. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me on this one, but I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you.
Scanners. We brought more firepower than we thought. How's our hull looking? Badly damaged. We're at 70% integrity and falling. That should still be enough to stop out these... Huh?